So yesterday I released a video about the Trails in the Sky remake, and I went over some of my hopes and fears for it. I talked about how much I love the Trails series, and especially how much I love Trails in the Sky in particular. I was very happy with that video, and I still stand by everything I say in that video, but of course, no sooner do I drop that video and start perusing YouTube myself, I caught a couple of videos from my favorite YouTubers, David Vink and the Kaseki Nut, and they both went over this recent interview that Kondo, the president of Falcom, delivered in The Gamer. And I decided that, I'm going to give an off-the-cuff rant about this because I didn't want to wait until I could make like a more polished video on it. So consider this video something of an addendum to the video I released yesterday, because while I stand by everything I said in yesterday's video, I was unaware of what Kondo had said in this interview, and I think it's important context to add to what might be, honestly, another fear of mine with this game. Anybody who's a fan of my channel, yes, my mighty channel of 5 subscribers, knows that I like short games. I think that one of the problems of modern games is that they're too long and that they're over-designed. So it was not music to my ears when Kondo said, we estimate the original Trails in the Sky to be closer to 40 hours long in playtime, whereas the new entry is estimated to take closer to 80 hours in time. At least that's what he said, one of their programmers said when he had played the two in comparison. So double the playtime. And right, some of the explanations that I know Kondo gave and some of the other YouTubers who I follow gave, which are right, I would say, right, listening to voice lines certainly takes longer than just strictly text-based dialogue. I don't think there's any doubt about that, especially if you do actually listen through the voice dialogue, which as a personal preference, I generally do personally. And further, yeah, I would say that exploring 3D worlds takes longer than exploring a 2D pre-rendered world. That's usually the case, especially if things are hidden or more thick and dense in design. So these are certainly things that could also impact runtime, but doubling the length of the game, I have my suspicions about that, right? I played the Trials of Mana remake. That certainly wasn't a double long game, I won't think, bar the added content, which we know that they are adding some content to this game, which I think is fine. But again, I enjoy short games here, and I don't think I'm the only one. And I especially worry that if they make Trails in the Sky remake an 80-hour long game, right, one of the purposes of this game is to make Trails more accessible. Are 80-hour games the best way to accomplish that? For those of us who know, Trails in the Sky First Chapter, which is what this remake is the first chapter to a duology. In fact, originally, the whole thing, the first and second chapter, was supposed to be one game. They decided to split it in two for, I think at the time it was budgetary reasons and because it was just getting so big. And that was a happy accident. I'm glad that first chapter and second chapter divided the way they are, but if first chapter is an 80-hour game, and I think most of us assume that they're going to be remaking second chapter, and I think that that's a safe assumption. Isn't that going to be an even bigger barrier to getting people into that second chapter? And will Trails ultimately run into the same problem that you might argue it has now, where it isn't accessible to newcomers because you've got, all of these 100-hour long games that you have to try to slog through to catch up? Wouldn't shorter games be better for making it more accessible? I think it would, but then again, I'm just a big defender of short games personally. And another thing, right, the combat is going to be more modern. It's going to have the real-time and then switch to command mode type of combat that we have in Daybreak, which is great, but that speeds gameplay up. It certainly does in Daybreak, especially by comparison to, say, Sky First Chapter. So if we have slicker, smoother, faster combat, that should be a countervailing force helping drive the runtime back a bit. So 80 hours, it makes me ask, are the scenarios just that much bigger that they're that much longer to explore? Does listening to voice dialogue really take that much more time? In a game like Trails, maybe. Or how much more content was added, and I hope not padding. And Kondo did say that, you know, some of this will also be taken up by skits because they want to have more voice to fill in the empty spaces when Estelle and Joshua are exploring. And again, fundamentally, I think this is wonderful. One of my favorite things about modern JRPGs are like walking skits. Think like when your character, and the newer Trails games do have these, when your characters are walking through an area and nothing gets interrupted, they just start talking to each other. I'm assuming Trails in the Sky Remake is going to have that, and those are wonderful. But if it's going to have a bunch of like stop the gameplay to listen to these skits more Tales style, I like the Tales skits overall, I would say, but they are momentum breaking, and I hope that there aren't too many of them for me personally. Trails in the Sky first chapter, I don't think would be well served to be a long game. This needs to be a nice, tight, amazing experience to onboard newcomers. It's going to be fan service for the existing fans like us, no matter what it is. And there is a part of me that's kind of squealing about getting to spend 80 hours in Liberl. So it's not all doom and gloom for me. There is a big part of me that really likes the idea of having a huge Trails in the Sky first chapter, but I am a huge short game advocate, and I'm not sure if it'll be good for the mission of onboarding newcomers if it's too big of a game. But those are my thoughts. I don't usually do off-the-cuff rants like this, so I hope this wasn't excruciating. I don't know how many of these I'll do, but I didn't want to wait any longer than I had to get this addendum out to the Trails in the Sky remake video that I just put out, because a lot of my other favorite YouTubers are more positive about this news, and honestly, I'm a little bit more skeptical, but I hope I'm wrong. Anyway, this is Nick B. RPG. We talk all things RPG here, especially JRPGs. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.